makes everything about Evie Cottrell's look back to some television commercial for an organic shampoo, except right now, Evie's wedding dress is burned down to just the hoop skirt wires orbiting her hips, and just the little wire skeletons of all the silk flowers that were in her hair. And Evie's blonde hair, her big, teased up, back-combed rainbow in every shade of blonde, blown up with hairspray. Well, Evie's hair is blown off too. The only other character here is Brandy Alexander, who's laid out shotgunned at the bottom of the staircase, bleeding to death. What I tell myself is the gush of red pumping out of Brandy's bullet hole is less like blood than it's some socio-political tool. The thing about being cloned from all those shampoo commercials, well, that goes for me and Brandy Alexander too. Shotgunning anybody in this room would be the moral equivalent of killing a car, a vacuum cleaner, a Barbie doll. Erasing a computer disk, burning a book, probably that goes for killing anybody in the world. We're all just products. Brandy Alexander, the long-stemmed latte queen supreme of the top-drawer party girls. Brandy is gushing her insides out through a bullet hole in her amazing suit jacket. The suit. It's this white Bob Mackie knockoff is a warm, sunny day, and the front door is open to the porch and the lawn outside. The fire upstairs draws the warm smell of the fresh cut lawn into the foyer, and you can hear all the wedding guests outside. All the guests. They took the gifts they wanted, the crystal and the silver, and went out to wait on the lawn for the firemen and paramedics to make their entrance. Brandy, she opens one of her huge, ring-beaded hands, and she touches the hole, pouring her blood out all over that marble floor. Brandy says, "Shit, there's no way the Bon Marche will take this suit back." Evie lifts her face, a finger-painting mess of soot and snot and tears from her hands, and screams, "I hate my life being so boring." Evie screams down at Brandy Alexander, "Save me a window table in hell." Tears rinse clean lines down Evie's cheeks, and she screams, "Girlfriend, you need to be yelling some back at me." As if this isn't already a drama. Brandy looks up at me, kneeling beside her. Brandy's aubergine eyes dilated out to full flower. She says, "Brandy Alexander is gonna die now." Evie, Brandy and me, all this is just a power struggle for the spotlight. Just each of us being me first. The murderer, the victim, the witness, each of us thinks our role is the lead. Probably that goes for anybody in the world. It's all mirror on the wall, because beauty is power the same way money is power, the same way gun is power. Anymore, when I see the picture of a 20-something in the newspaper who was abducted and sodomized and robbed and then killed, and here's a front page picture of her young and smiling instead of me, dwelling on this being a big, sad crime, my gut reaction is, wow, she'd be really hot if she didn't have such a big honker of a nose. My second reaction is, I'd better have some good head and shoulder shots handy in case I get, abducted and sodomized to death. My third reaction is, well, at least that cuts down on the competition. If that's not enough, my moisturizer I use is a suspension of inert fetal solids in hydrogenated mineral oil. My point is that if I'm being honest, my life is all about me. My point is, unless the meter is running and some photographer is yelling, "Give me empathy," then the flash of the strobe, "Give me symphony," flash. "Give me brutal honesty," flash. "Don't let me die here on the floor," Brandy says, and her big hands clutch at me. "My hair," she says, "my hair will be flat in the back." My point is, I know Brandy is probably going to die, but I just can't get into it. Evie sobs even louder. On top of this, the fire sirens from way outside are crowning me queen of Migraine Town. The rifle is still spinning on the floor, but slower and slower. Brandy says, "This is not how Brandy Alexander wanted her life to go. She's supposed to be famous first, She's supposed to be on the television doing Super Bowl halftime, drinking a Diet Cola naked in slow motion before she died." The rifle stops spinning and points at nobody. At Evie sobbing, Brandy screams, "Shut up." "You shut up," Evie screams back behind her. The fire is eating its way down the stairway carpet. The sirens, you can hear them wandering and screaming all over the West Hills. People will just knock each other down to dial 911 and be the big hero. Nobody looks ready for the big television crew that's due to arrive any minute. "This is your last chance, honey," Brandy says, and her blood is getting all over the place. She says, "Do you love me?" It's when folks ask questions like